Well, good morning. Today is either Thanksgiving if you're in Canada, or Columbus Day if you're in the United States, or Indigenous Peoples Day if you think that's a better idea than Columbus Day. And that leads me to some thoughts this morning, because on the one hand, we have the idea of some invaders, and there were a lot of invaders over the centuries who didn't really have any good reason to go where they were going, I guess is what I'm thinking, other than they just were bored with where they were. I don't know. But, some people move because of being driven out by other people. Some move because where they are no longer can support them, can't grow food or can't hunt what they used to. Various reasons for people to move. But when you're looking at celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day, on one hand, because it wasn't good for people from Europe to go to the United States, and on the other hand, you're looking at a movement that wants free economic migration now, that kind of needs some thinking through, because if someone is an economic migrant now and someone was an invader in 1500s, 1600s, what were my great-grandparents around 1890 when they left Poland? And I wish I had some more information about that, but no one at that time wanted to talk about why they came, how they got here. I have no idea. I tried asking one of my older cousins, and she just said, well, I guess there wasn't enough to eat, which isn't very informative when you come right down to it. But yeah, there were a lot of wars in Europe and all sorts of things going on. So it might have been economic migrants. It might have been just, not wanting to get killed. So, they came and they settled in Buffalo, New York, which was already a big, thriving city. But, they weren't exactly coming because they wanted to be first in line for Disney World. And from what I can tell, at least, they didn't have huge amounts of money. There were a lot of people from Poland who came to Buffalo, and there are some books about it, and I've looked at some of them, but I didn't really learn anything about my family in particular. But they were sort of community active because my mother's parents then were in the Polish social groups, singing societies and things like that. So I really don't know a whole lot about it. I can't say, economic migrants or invaders. What were they? I think they were people trying to do what they could with the situation they were in. And I support the idea of Indigenous Peoples Day because I think it needs to be recognized that there were people here in the U.S. before Columbus came, and he didn't even come to the U.S. He went to the Caribbean. Where he got where he landed. But it happened, and the people who were here lost a lot. Some of the people who came around 1890 lost a lot. The whole world has always been around invading each other, killing each other, doing terribly nasty things to each other. I don't have a solution for that. But before, we point at one person being bad or their ancestors being bad or something. We need to just stop and consider, first of all, they're not responsible for their ancestors. Nobody's responsible for anybody but themselves. And parents are responsible for their children. And you are responsible for your neighbor to a degree of what is happening right now to them. But you are not responsible for what your grandparents did. If they took something from somebody and you feel there's some way you can give something back, that's your business. I don't think there's anything that I can do or should be forced to do to give something to someone who was harmed by someone else's grandparents while mine were still in Poland, probably not having a really good time, because otherwise I think they wouldn't have left. Okay, so that sounds a little muddled to you. It's because the whole situation is a little muddled, but that's my thoughts about Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, Thanksgiving, and my great-grandparents. Okay, bye-bye.